Oh, hey there. Sup? Welcome to Tales Tomorrow. I'm Morrow, your storyteller for today, and with me I have some more RPG horror stories. Speaking of RPG horror story channels out there, I've been low-key, but sort of not low-key, trying to convince Mary to try to make some videos of her own and actually have a channel of her own. Talk about either D&D related stuff or RPG horror story stuff or D&D advice and everything. So this video here is my call to you, lovely people watching, to let Mary know in the comments below, hey Mary, you should definitely start a YouTube channel. Let's peer pressure Mary to make a YouTube channel, guys. Let's do this. Anyway, without further ado, let's get some RPG horror stories for today. Player goes missing from our sessions. Turns out he's in prison. Been sitting on this one for a while as the group needed time to process. It all started back in 2020. COVID kept us all in our houses and had recently gotten back into D&D, so starting my own online game seemed like a good way to pass some time and also get comfortable DMing. After reading many of the stories here, I considered that I needed to do at least some vetting of my players before starting a group, and also encourage players not to share too many personal details between themselves early on. I had a couple of obviously creepy players wanted to join, but politely declined and settled on a group of 5. What I didn't know at the time was that I'd let in someone who was incredibly deceptive. I think at the time I assumed he was privacy conscious. We started the campaign and everything is going great. Played the first campaign for around 2 years, entirely online. We have a lot of fun. It isn't until we get to our 4th year and second campaign as a play group that begins to notice something odd. One of the players, who has talked multiple times about having difficulty at home, seems to be missing sessions and disappearing from communications during some periods of time. We muddle through, reorganize sessions, and manage to continue playing. We take a month break for summer and all agree on a date to play again, but this player fails to show up. We try contacting him, but he is offline everywhere we have him as a contact. One of the players is especially worried. Our missing player had told him that he was feeling blank. You can conclude yourself. Thinking the worst, we'll put our heads together and think about what we do know about the guy, and this is where it gets tricky. Prior to this, we'd mostly talk to each other via Discord and refer to each other by player names, except for me, who would most often be referred to by my first name. Other than the player names, we only knew usernames and first names. Fortunately for us, the player happened to have a username that included a year, most likely his year of birth, as well as an initial. With that information, as well as rough idea of profession and whereabouts, we'll do some digging. We all sat on Discord together, looking for what we can to find an article. Includes a picture of a guy, but I don't know what missing player's face looks like. Only one other person in the group does. So send it to him and ask, is this him? The player enthusiastically replies, yep, that's him. Where'd you find it? And at that point, I prepare the party. I explain that I found a news article that explains why the player is missing, that he isn't dead, but that they will likely need some time to process what they're about to hear. I know I did when I read it. I ask if anyone in the party shared sensitive information with the missing player, and I'm relieved when they tell me they did not. I close Roll20 and read the article. Essay warning for the following. The missing player was a tattoo artist and he had used his fame to manipulate, gaslight, and struggle-snuggle several women, some once, others multiple times. He'd finally been taken to court after years of abuse and thankfully prosecuted. I don't know the full details of every event, but what I read was enough to know that he was guilty and clearly did not feel sorry for what he had done. It reflected parts of his character we had seen over the last couple of years, and suddenly everything had this new, horrible context surrounding it. We all took some time to process and discuss, retconned the story to remove his character entirely, removed him from Discord and Roll20, and moved on. Since then, we had face cams on, we met in person, and I can say with confidence that what remains of our group is fantastic. Looking back on things, I wish I had been a little more thorough with my vetting of players. Holy crap, what a twist! What an actual twist! Turns out, one of your players was a convicted felon, an assaulter in fact. Whoa, that is insane! At the same time, with everybody not sharing the private information, it made sense you guys wouldn't know about it. The player probably didn't feel like it was important to tell anybody that, like, yeah, I'm going through courts and criminals charges and everything. But also, there was no way you could have known. There's literally no way you could have known until you decided to dig up the information about the specific player and learn that about him. It's crazy you had to learn this information about the player in this specific way and to tell your entire party about all this. But man, that is crazy. That is insane. Either way, I think it's a good thing that nobody in your party got hurt. I mean, unfortunate for the women that were affected and stuff with a horrible player, but yeah, good thing nobody in your party got affected. And yeah, face cams probably would be a good thing to do at this point, potentially. Still, absolutely wild story, absolutely crazy. Bullet dodge with this guy for sure. Bullet dodge. Just get to the next story for today. Your NPC doesn't meet my character's needs as a partner. I've been playing D&D since 2019 and wanting to introduce the hobby to my friends. with Barbarian joining us 2 years ago, and this story begins our second mini-campaign. The mini-campaign follows the aftermath of a Kraken attack. Party wakes up in an eerie water genasi village, which they later realize is located with the Kraken's domain, and its inhabitants were cultists. The village chief was a Kraken priest who had an adoptive daughter, Emilia, tasked to look over the party. Emilia eventually smuggled the party's gear from her father's house and warned them about the island before disappearing. The party finds the rest of the survivors and a ship, but decides to come back and save Emilia before leaving. Manage to ambush and defeat the Kraken priest, leaving him for dead as they sail off the next island. Barbarian's player is a half-Triton pirate, playing a stereotypical douchebag. He was funny at first, but as the player's obsession with him grew, it became more disturbing. For context, Monk and Barbarian wanted a storyline explored, and both realized their characters had a crush on Emilia. The party agreed the Barbarian Emilia ship under the condition that he would be portrayed poorly, and I will have them break up the next day. We had a scene where Monk tried to explain that now is not the time to make a move on Emilia, and she's still processing grief, but gets blown up by Barbarian and asks her out on her birthday. Next session recap started with Barbarian hiding in a closet, scared, explaining how Emilia asked if a half-Triton would drown if their gills were covered, and declared her expression to collect her boyfriend's scales, and cut his hair in his sleep to make a charm of their hair braided together. The story was supposed to end here, and dating a recent ex-cultist was a really bad idea. Well, after that session, Barbarian approached me to keep the relationship going, to which the group agreed, as long as it isn't romanticized. The Barbarian went, "Oh, this girl is insane and crazy. I can fix her." Some people do look at crazy and say, that is a challenge I can attempt. I'll definitely attempt to fix them. They're insane, unstable, crazy, absolutely lunatic. I can fix them. It's a challenge for me. I hope it doesn't turn to a big downfall, but I feel like it is going to become a downfall because the title is written in all caps. From here, it started small, with Barbarian asking Emilia to come with a party to every mission and complaining she's too squishy and underleveled. She initiates roleplay in my DMs, and the server often starts with sexual pickup lines, getting frustrated when I deflect by being oblivious. Then I asked Emilia to be more normal and put more effort in the relationship. I would often ask if Emilia really loved him. Barb then initiates ERP my DMs, where I was hesitant at first, but gave it a chance, as every roleplay led to the bedroom. She then proceeded to share the ERP screenshots in a community server. I got upset and told her to stop. The screenshots were leaked. Okay, hold on one second. First of all, if you got an ERP with somebody, you keep that under wraps no matter what. Some people though might be like, yeah, okay, I can share some ERP. Here's some ERP logs and stuff. But for other people, it's kind of like an intimate thing. And it was also a very uncomfortable thing to share. If you got an ERP with somebody, you do some sort of like, I don't know, like imaginary hanky-panky in Discord DMs or VR chat roleplays or whatever. Keep that under wraps. Don't just expose people with that stuff. Don't take screenshots of that thing. That's weird. First of all, that's weird. Second of all, if you're gonna be doing some sort of ERP stuff, do it in privacy when nobody knows that you're doing this kind of thing. Otherwise, it's even more weird. They're just getting so weird and uncomfortable. I don't like what's going on here. I don't like what Barbarian is doing whatsoever. I know it sounds weird to defend ERP, but listen, people are entitled to the privacy. If somebody wants to ERP in private without having those screenshots be leaked, it's between two consenting people that are perfectly cool with it to say, hey, you want an ERP? Sure, let's ERP. We're consenting both to this. People don't want to read it. People don't want to see it. Don't make everybody else on the server uncomfortable with it. If somebody else on the server started posting some ERP screenshot text, I'd be like, ew, I don't want to read that. Get away from me. I got upset and told her to stop. Later on, Barbarian's player had a 6-hour-long jealous breakup down on call because I made a joke about what if scenario where the monk and Emilia dated instead. She hated how the monk and Emilia's relationship was healthier and accused me of making her jealous. Some of the quotes from the call: Emilia doesn't meet my character needs as a partner. The others told me to expect relationships from you. People just keep telling me to break up with her. It's dismissing my feelings. What is our relationship doomed to fail? I do not consent to get cocked. Barbarian may be fictional, but the person playing him is real, and my feelings are real. Don't ever mention Emilia being together with anyone else because it hurts me so much. Oh my god, this player fell in love with Emilia, a fictional person that is not even real. Oh no, dude. When you fall in love with a fictional person, it's not even your character falling in love with them, but you falling in love with them. That's not okay, man. You're living too far into fantasy. You're too deep down this rabbit hole. You need to get the hell out quickly. On top of this, her sister explained that she had a pillowcase of Barbarian, 10 posters in her room, 70 plus artworks, 2 of which were hymn heavens. And that in every waking moment, she talks about Barbarian, thinks like Barbarian, eats like Barbarian, and breathes barbarian. Instead, I made the world and relationship dynamic so immersive for her sister to feel this way. Your player is a little obsessed with the imaginary waifu with their character, getting the feelings hurt, getting the imaginary fifis hurt. This is derangement. It doesn't matter how much artwork you have of your character or a pillowcase of your character. Being so obsessed with your character to the point where you breathe and live as your character in D&D in real life, it's not okay or healthy for you or anybody surrounding you. You need help. You need to go outside and touch some grass and breathe some fresh air. Fresh air, please get help. By the end, I tried writing a tactful message of how I no longer want to roleplay with her, and she is out of the group. She said I was generalizing, that she didn't ask for my D&D resume, and the reason she wanted me to ERP was because she was the type to push people to try new things like chess. Chess and ERP are two different worlds apart from each other. This is insane leap in logic. I just like to try new things like chess and imaginary hanky-panky. So stupid. I later received a 4,000-word essay about how she's not sure how she hurt me, but she's sorry, and here's why I was wrong, and why her character should be a major politician or two powerful nations. So after some thinking, I decided to leave to avoid drama. I couldn't kick her out as it was my server, and the owner was unreachable. The active community noticed I left and wanted to follow me to the new server. The last message before I blocked her was accusing me of turning people against her, so yeah, fun experience. Oh no, Barbarian, you did it all yourself. And you know what? I'm glad you left. If the server owner is unreachable and you can't get rid of the player, just leave. Everybody else will follow. And I'm glad they did. I'm glad your players stood by your side, and hopefully you're having fun time playing with them instead of playing with this barbarian waifu-obsessed creep. That's what they are. They are waifu-obsessed creep. They literally can't let go of an imaginary RP relationship to the point where they get the fifis hurt whenever the NPC character, the fictional NPC character, mind you, is probably maybe potentially compatible with a different player character that is also not real. Your character is not real. The NPC is not real. The monk is not real. Nobody is real. It's all fantasy. To get so attached to fantasy to this extent, you need help. You need to go outside. You need to start jogging more. You need to realize that there's light, there's sunlight outside, because you're so deep into your body pillow that you don't know what's reality and what's not anymore. Anyway, I'm glad you left the server, and I'm glad you got yourself rid of Barbarian. And you know what? Honestly, good riddance of Barbarian. They seem like they have more problems going on than some sort of in-game hanky-panky. Imagine saying, I just want to try new things like chess and ERP. Insanity. Insanity. And with that, that's going to be all our stories for today. I want to thank you very much for watching, and thanks so much for being here. If you like what I do, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. Also, if the RPG Horror Stories ever goes down, or if you want to submit your own personalized horror story, email is down in the description below. I'll see you again in more Tales Tomorrow. Bye-bye.